What up everyone, Fallout here, and I am up to my goddamn neck in new Beyond Light exotic gear. Bungie hit us with a little bit of a sneak preview teaser the other day, saying we would have more info coming our way on today, October 7th. Little did we know that more info would translate to a jam-packed trailer with exotic armor and weapons. If you haven't seen the trailer, don't worry, we are pretty much going to go through the entire thing right now, weapon by weapon and armor by armor. If you want to watch the full trailer, unedited or uninterrupted, check down low in the video description. Okay, starting off, we have the no time to explain. You might be bummed out because, we've already seen this gun before. No, you have not, because we're now learning for the very first time that no time to explain allows you to summon your own little portal, which will fire bullets from an alternate dimension at nearby enemies. You know how Stormcallers have a little arc soul that follows them around? Yeah, apparently the no time to explain portal is that, but on crack. The reason I say that is that while the Warlock Arc Soul is projectile based, aka the little arc damage it fires has travel time, from the looks of the trailer, the no time to explain portal appears to be hit scan, meaning it may fire actual bullets that connect instantly with no travel time at all. Here's how it works from the Bungie website. Precision hits and hits against enemies affected by stasis will return to the magazine. Stack this effect to summon a portal which will fire bullets from an alternate timeline. So, while powerful, it sounds like in order to get the most out of your no time to explain weapon, you need to either be on a stasis subclass or be with a teammate on a stasis subclass. Potentially annoying, but considering the reward, well worth the effort. I imagine this gun being very handy in PvE, considering how easily you can kill enemies with stasis and headshots. The perk activation shouldn't be too hard. In PvP, it might be a bit more challenging to activate depending on how powerful the new stasis abilities would be. But if you manage to get the exotic perk to activate and get a hit scan bullet buddy following you around, that's actually wild. If it's even remotely accurate, you're going to be reducing your time to kill, and that's going to potentially help you win a lot of gunfights. I cannot wait to test out that weapon day one of Beyond Light. Okay, moving on, we have a brand new exotic sniper rifle, Cloudstrike. This one is the weapon that Bungie gave us a sneak preview of yesterday, hidden in ice. Here's the deal with Cloudstrike. You get a headshot, you summon a lightning storm. Think of it like the perk Dragonfly, except instead of a little explosion, it's essentially a controlled lightning grenade right on top of the enemy. Cloudstrike seems way more straightforward than no time to explain. While I see it being very helpful in PvE, its usage in PvP will probably be more dependent on a few factors. Factor number one, how good are its stats on paper, i.e. range, handling, and aim assist values. Factor number two, how good is the scope? Is it clean, short range scope with no zoom, or a huge ass boxy pair of binoculars? If everything is just right, people may want to bring Cloudstrike into PvP. The exotic perk may only really come into play in either 6v6 or against teams that are holding hands way too much. Either way, looks great. The next exotic gun isn't an exotic gun at all, but a brand new sword called the Lament. The Lament appears to be a PvE godsend because the new exotic perk is that it absolutely annihilates barrier shields. In the trailer, we are met with a familiar sight, a damned annoying PvE enemy champion rocking a barrier shield. In comes the Guardian with a flying spin, crashing the sword down and completely ruining the enemy barrier shield. I think it goes without saying that the Lament is going to be very viable in PvE, especially in high-level Nightfalls or any activity involving the ever-annoying barrier champions. I'm not sure if Bungie was just trying to be flashy in the trailer, or if the Lament is so powerful that not only does it ignore barrier shields, that it flat out one-shots barrier champions with their bubble popped. I don't know. It would kind of be a shame if the Lament was outperformed by any anti-barrier gun. Time will tell. I doubt anyone will want or care to bring the Lament into PvP, but expect it to be a PvE champion, and goddamn, is that design ever beautiful. Now we finally get to some new exotic armor, and I'm not kidding you, this exotic may be so powerful that it forces me to become a Titan main in year 4. Introducing the Icefall Mantle Gauntlets, which give you the ability to replace your Titan Barricade with an Overshield. I repeat, sacrifice your Titan Barricade and instead you have the ability to give yourself an Overshield. Dear God, I have so many questions, and the answers are going to determine how OP these gauntlets might be. Question 1, how long does the Overshield last? Question 2, how strong is the Overshield? Question 3, does the Overshield regenerate in any way, shape, or form like your regular health bar? If the Overshield is even a little bit strong and lengthy, expect the Icefall Mantle to be an absolute PvP powerhouse. Imagine this, you run a high resilience build on your Titan, taking your barrier cooldown time to the lowest possible amount. You put on a low time to kill weapon and of course a beautiful shotgun and roll into PvP with only one goal: Overshields galore. Even if they give you just enough protection to shrug off 1 or 2 extra bullets from the enemy, you're effing with their time to kill. You're giving yourself an advantage in every 1v1 gunfight you walk into. You are beefier and more willing to charge into engagements. Now that is a real Titan power fantasy. There's honestly only one more exotic that might be calling my name a little bit harder, and wouldn't you know it, we're about to look at it right now. Check it out, the Mask of Bakris for the Hunter. You get rid of your dodge ability, but instead get a new ability called Shift. From the trailer, Shift appears to be a better version of Blink, whereas Blink requires your Guardian to jump, then double jump to activate Blink. Shift apparently can be activated right on the ground. It's dodge, but without the dodge. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're over there. According to the Bungie website, Shift is longer than a Hunter dodge, meaning it's going to be a much more effective way at closing the gap on enemies. Not only that, but it temporarily cloaks the wearer during use. Dear God. I know that on paper this might not be as flashy as another exotic, but for the love of God, the movement potential with this armor sounds absolutely wild. I've already gone on the record many times saying how I think the Hunter Dodge is already the best ability in the game. But now you give hunters the ability to not only move further, but straight up teleport? I'm calling it right now, this exotic helmet is going to be all over PvP. Expect it, prepare for it, and maybe even abuse it yourself. Lord knows I will. Next up, we have the ARTHRYS'S Embrace. Exotic gauntlets for the hunter that give you a better version of your weighted throwing knife. They now have a second ricochet, and rapid precision hits gain a damage bonus and can temporarily stagger enemies. I have a lot of questions about both of those things. Will the damage bonus be strong enough to one-shot guardians in the body in PvP? How effective will they be in fighting roaming supers? Does the staggering effect work only in PvE? Or in PvP too? Time will tell. I think this exotic might be really effective in PvE, but any hunter mains out there who are already gaga for the weighted throwing knife will probably love toying around with the Embrace. I don't know if it'll be cracked, but looks really fun. Can't wait to find out more. Next, we finally get to a new exotic for the Warlocks, Dawn Chorus. Improved burns and daybreak damage. From the Bungie website, the Warlock's daybreak projectiles deal extra damage and cause enemies to burn on contact. Gain melee energy each time a burn damages a target. Not bad, although if I'm being completely honest, I'd be much more hyped about the Dawn Chorus if it allowed all Warlock abilities the chance to burn, not only the Daybreak super. Gaining extra melee energy is a nice touch though. I'm sure all the top tree Dawnblade mains out there will be very appreciative. Although I'd much rather wear an exotic in PvP that helps my neutral game rather than my super game, the Dawn Chorus might be pretty good. I get really annoyed when I hit an enemy in PvP with a Daybreak sword and it's just off enough to not one-hit kill them. Hopefully the Dawn Chorus corrects that issue. In terms of PvE, I'm sure it'll turn Daybreak into an even deadlier crowd control super than it already is. Next, another toy for the Warlocks, Necrotic Grip. Melee spreads Poison? What the F? The footage we have in the trailer is very brief, so for more understanding, we turn to Bungie.net. A deadly caress compounded melee attacks corrupt enemies with increasing damage over time. Defeating a corrupted combatant spreads the corruption to nearby targets and restores melee energy. That must be what we saw in the trailer, a poisoned enemy getting defeated, and then that wave of green death that ripples out towards the enemies must be corruption spreading. Really, the only question I have is, can the Necrotic Grip work with any Warlock melee ability? What about Top Tree Dawnblade ranged melee? Can you poison players from across the map with that melee? If so, that is pretty damned awesome. Depending on how melee happy you are and how far the range is on the corruption being able to spread, the Necrotic Grip could be very effective in PvP. For PvE, I think it goes without saying that being able to spread damage over time to nearby enemies via meleeing and killing, well, that's probably going to be a top tier trash killer. Next up, we have another Titan exotic, this time a helmet called Precious Scars. Upon reviving, the Titan gains an overshield aura that protects the wearer and nearby allies. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because I'm sure everyone is thinking it. This helmet is gonna be used in one activity way more than anything else: trials. Playing PvP with a friend who keeps getting into trouble, match begins and bam, they're picked off right away. Well, turn that deadie into an asset with Precious Scars. Revive your teammate and booyah, overshield for both you and them. Be confident about reviving your teammates in hot combat zones. Depending on how long the overshield lasts and how powerful it is, this could either be a kind of a throwaway exotic with a cool design, or a completely busted revive mechanic. Can't wait to find out which. Finally, we have one last exotic weapon, Salvation's Grip. According to Bungie.net, it's an exotic grenade launcher. Each fired projectile will create stasis crystals that will freeze nearby targets' charge to increase the amount of crystals created and the freeze radius. In a nutshell, you can turn into Mr. Freeze from Batman with an ice on demand gun. I won't lie, that is pretty badass. Aside from being a cool concept, I think the real potential the grip has is that it allows you to be a different subclass while still being able to freeze enemies. We've seen a lot from Bungie's class previews that mention awesome things happening when enemies are affected by stasis. Well, what if you don't want to play a stasis class, but you still want to have fun and freeze people? Well, enter Salvation's Grip. I'm wondering what fun combinations people might be able to come up with when you have the ability to freeze people with a gun, then do other things on a non-stasis class. It's all really overwhelming, but I absolutely cannot wait. Please tell me which of the following exotics you are most excited about, which ones you want to get your hands on day one. If you're hyped for these new exotics and want me to do reviews on each and every one, let me know by clicking the like button. Don't forget to subscribe because it's free to do and because I told you to. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.